I want to start with something I've seen more than once. A field that should normally be producing just isn't anymore. The same farmer, same practices, same inputs, and yet the crop starts slipping. Not all at once, just a little bit at a time. Maybe yields drop off slightly, maybe the crop looks uneven, maybe it just doesn't have the same strength as it used to. And the first reaction is usually, what changed? But here's the thing, a lot of times nothing obvious changed at all. And that's what makes it so frustrating. When I get called into these situations, it's rarely a disaster field. It's not a complete failure. It's a field that's underperforming its own history. And that's a very different problem. Because now we're not trying to fix something broken. We're trying to figure out why something that used to work stopped working. And over time, I started noticing a pattern. These fields often look fine from the outside, but when you spend time in them, they don't feel right. You walk into the field and you start noticing small things. The crop isn't uniform. Some areas are strong, some areas are just lagging. Nothing dramatic, just inconsistency. You dig into the soil and it doesn't have the same structure that you'd expect. It might be loose, but it doesn't hold together. You look at the moisture level and it disappears faster than it should. Or the opposite, it stays in place longer than it should. And then you start hearing things like, we put on more this year and didn't get more back. That's usually when I know we're not dealing with a simple nutrient issue. Most people go straight to, I need to add more fertilizer, more inputs, more correction. And sometimes that helps, temporarily. But what I've seen over and over again is this. The field doesn't respond the way it used to. You can add more, but you don't get the same return. And that's the moment where things start to shift. Because now the question becomes, is it really a shortage of something? Or is something not working anymore? When I start testing with a unique lab and digging deeper, the results can be surprising. I'll find fields that aren't lacking nutrients. In fact, they're often sitting on a large reserve of what the crop needs. But the crop still isn't accessing it properly. And that's where things start to make sense, because now we're not dealing with what's missing, we're dealing with what's not available. And those two are completely different problems. And for answers, I need to look past basic agronomy. What I've consistently seen in these situations comes down to three things working together. The soil environment is off. The biology isn't active. And the chemistry isn't balanced in a way that the plant can actually use. Not dramatically, just enough to slow everything down. And when that happens, you don't always see a failure. Over and over, I see a slow decline. Here's why this is important. Because if you misdiagnose this, you'll spend money in the wrong places. You'll keep adding inputs without fixing the underlying issue. We sprinkle money on top and then pray for rain. Over time, that gets really expensive. But more than that, it gets frustrating because it feels like you're doing everything right and not getting the results that you're used to. So the real question becomes, if the nutrients are there and the field still isn't performing, what's actually stopping it? That's what we're going to get into next, because once you understand that piece, you stop guessing and you start fixing the right problem.